Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. Where history, mystery, and money all come together through rare and valuable coins. Today's episode takes us deep into the world of American coinage, and we're focusing on a small but potentially life-changing piece of metal, the 1979 Jefferson nickel. Now, you might be thinking, how special can a 5-cent coin really be? You see them every day, right? Well, get ready, because this seemingly ordinary coin could actually be a hidden gem worth a surprising fortune. So, sit tight and watch till the very end, because what we're about to share could quite literally change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Let's start by turning back the clock to 1979. It was a dynamic year in American history. The country was experiencing technological shifts, political changes, and a rising interest in collecting and preserving artifacts of the past. At the same time, the United States Mint was producing coins as usual, among them the humble Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The Jefferson nickel features a portrait of the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, on the front. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, this design has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage. On the back of the coin, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, elegantly engraved with impressive detail. Now, here's where things get interesting. In 1979, millions of these nickels were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. On the surface, they looked just like any other coin. But, as collectors and numismatists would discover years later, not all 1979 Jefferson nickels were created equal. Some carried features so rare and so unusual that their value skyrocketed in the collector's market. So, what exactly makes a 1979 Jefferson nickel valuable? It all comes down to three things: condition, rarity, and errors. Let's break it down. At first, condition is everything in the coin world. A nickel that's been in circulation for decades will likely have scratches, nicks, or faded details. But a coin that's been preserved in pristine condition, also known as mint state or uncirculated, is worth far more. Collectors prize these coins because they show the design in full, crisp detail, just as it was when it left the mint. But condition alone isn't enough to make a 1979 nickel special. Rarity is the real game changer. Although millions were made, only a few were struck with rare variations and minting errors, and these are the ones that can be worth a small fortune. One of the most talked about errors involves a double die, where the design is accidentally struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a ghost-like doubling of the text or image. Another famous type of error involves an off-center strike, where the coin's design is printed off to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. Then there are planchet errors, where the metal blank used to create the coin is flawed or incomplete. These mistakes might seem minor at first glance, but in the world of coin collecting, they can make a massive difference in value. So imagine this: you're going through your old coin jar or inherited collection and stumble upon a 1979 Jefferson nickel. You look closer and realize it's in fantastic condition, shiny, well-detailed, maybe even untouched. Then you notice something odd: perhaps the lettering is doubled, or the image isn't quite centered. Congratulations! You could be looking at a coin that very few people on this planet own. And that kind of rarity comes with serious collector interest and serious money. The appeal of the 1979 Jefferson nickel doesn't stop at errors and pristine condition. Even regular examples in great shape are gaining value as more collectors recognize the historical and artistic value of the coin. It represents not just a portrait of a founding father, but a piece of a specific time in American history, the late 1970s, when the economy was shifting, inflation was climbing, and the mint was modernizing its practices. Now, you might be wondering, how much could a rare 1979 Jefferson nickel actually be worth today? Well, here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to find a 1979 Jefferson nickel in flawless, uncirculated condition, and especially if it features one of those ultra-rare minting errors, it could be worth as much as $65,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin you might overlook in a handful of change could be worth more than some luxury cars, college tuitions, or even down payments on homes. So, next time you're going through your old coins or even getting change at the store, take a closer look. That ordinary nickel might just be your ticket to an unexpected fortune. If you found this video exciting, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with other collectors and treasure hunters out there. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, because we've got more rare coin stories coming your way and you won't want to miss them. Coin number 2. If you've ever doubted the saying that big things come in small packages, then you're about to change your mind. Today's video is all about a coin that most Americans have held in their hands without even realizing what it could be worth. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 1972 Jefferson nickel, a simple 5-cent coin that might just be your hidden jackpot. Now, I know what you're thinking: how can a nickel from 1972 be worth anything more than 5 cents? It's not even that old, right? But that's exactly what makes this story so surprising. The truth is, hidden among those everyday coins are rare variations and little-known treasures that collectors around the world are willing to pay top dollar for, and the 1972 Jefferson nickel is one of them. Let's take a moment to understand what makes this coin special. First of all, the Jefferson nickel series has been a mainstay in American currency since 1938. It features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, or as collectors like to say, the obverse, and on the reverse, you'll find an image of his famous Virginia estate, Monticello. The original design was created by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, and it has become one of the most iconic looks in modern coinage, but just because a design is consistent doesn't mean every coin is created equal. The 1972 edition of the Jefferson nickel, in particular, holds a few secrets that have only come to light in recent years. While millions of these coins were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, only a handful have surfaced with the kind of characteristics that drive collectors into a frenzy. So what should you be looking for? Let's start with condition. This is a major factor when it comes to value. A 1972 Jefferson nickel that's been through decades of pockets, purses, and vending machines is still cool, but it's not going to break the bank. What really gets collectors excited are coins in what's called mint state. That means they're nearly flawless, with sharp details and no signs of wear. These coins often come from old rolls or coin sets that were never opened or spent, but condition is just the beginning. The real magic happens when you combine pristine quality with rare minting errors. That's right, sometimes the machines at the mint mess up, and when they do, the result can be worth a fortune. One of the most famous types of errors in the 1972 Jefferson nickel is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin's design is struck more than once in slightly different positions, causing the lettering and portrait details to appear doubled. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it's unmistakable. There are also known examples of off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, leaving part of the design missing or misaligned. And then there are planchet errors, where the metal blank used to make the coin is flawed, clipped, or even made of the wrong material. Any of these minting errors can make your coin go from common to collectible in an instant. The scarcer the error and the better the condition, the higher the price collectors are willing to pay. Let's also not forget about full steps. This is a term used when grading Jefferson nickels to describe the detail on Monticello's steps on the reverse side. If all 5 or 6 steps are clearly visible and unbroken, the coin is said to have full steps, and that can significantly boost its value. In 1972, these full-step nickels were particularly tough to come by because of the striking quality at the time. So, to sum it up, if you happen to come across a 1972 Jefferson nickel with a clean, uncirculated surface, full steps on Monticello, and perhaps a rare minting error, congratulations. You might be holding something truly extraordinary. It's not just about what the coin is made of, it's about what makes it different. A coin that tells a story. A coin that slipped through the cracks of quality control. A coin that's one of only a few like it in the entire world. These are the coins that collectors dream of. And every once in a while, someone discovers one of these treasures in an old coin jar, a drawer, or even as change from a local store. And now, you've been patient, and it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. A rare 1972 Jefferson nickel, in uncirculated condition with a verified mint error, especially one featuring a full-step designation or a double die, has sold to collectors for as much as $83,000. That's right. A coin you might find in your pocket change could be worth more than most luxury cars or even some homes. It just goes to show that hidden treasures really do exist. You just need to know what to look for. So the next time you're handed a handful of change, don't be so quick to toss it aside. Take a closer look. You never know, the next great American coin discovery could be sitting in the palm of your hand. Coin number 3. We're shining a spotlight on a coin that might be hiding in plain sight. It's the 1990p Jefferson nickel, and while it may look like any other 5-cent piece, this coin holds secrets that could turn it into an absolute jackpot. So sit back, grab your coin jars, and stick with us until the end, because you might be surprised to learn just how valuable this small, silvery coin can be. Let's rewind to the year 1990. It was a turning point in many ways. The Cold War was ending, the internet was beginning to take shape, and the United States Mint was continuing its tradition of producing billions of coins for circulation. Among those coins was the Jefferson nickel, still bearing the classic design that had become a familiar part of American life since 1938. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the side profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, looking confidently forward. The reverse side shows his stately home, Monticello, a building whose symmetry and elegance have made it one of the most iconic images in all of U.S. coinage, but not all nickels are created equal. And the 1990p Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how a subtle difference, something that even the trained eye can easily miss, can make a coin extremely valuable to collectors. Now, before we dive into what makes this particular nickel special, let's talk about what the P means. It stands for the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most prolific mints in the country. Coins struck in Philadelphia typically carry the P mint mark, and in 1990, millions of nickels were minted there. So how could any one of them be worth more than pocket change? Well, that's where the story gets interesting. You see, during mass production, the minting process isn't always perfect. Every now and then, a few coins slip through the cracks with errors, and these mint errors are like golden tickets for coin collectors. While most 1990p Jefferson nickels were struck normally, a very small number came out of the mint with unique and rare defects that make them stand out and skyrocket in value. One of the most sought-after errors in the 1990p Jefferson nickel is what's known as a full steps error. If you look closely at the steps leading up to Monticello on the reverse side of the coin, you'll usually see that they're worn or slightly blurred. But on rare coins, the steps are perfectly defined, crisp, clean, and uninterrupted. These coins are known as full steps Jefferson nickels, and finding one from 1990, especially in pristine condition, is extremely rare. But that's not all. There are also examples of the 1990p nickel with die clashes, off-center strikes, and double die obverse features, where parts of the design appear doubled due to an error in the minting process. These small differences can make a massive impact on the value of the coin. Collectors go wild for these anomalies because they are essentially one-of-a-kind mistakes, and in the world of numismatics, rare equals valuable. Let's not forget condition. A 1990p Jefferson nickel found in circulation might have scratches, dings, and signs of heavy use. But if you come across one that's been preserved in mint condition, with no visible wear and perfect detail, you're already looking at something special. And when you combine that flawless state with a rare error or full steps designation, that's when the value really takes off. Another feature to pay attention to is the strike quality. The 1990p nickels weren't known for having the strongest, most detailed strikes. So when a coin surfaces from this year with deep, sharp detail and strong luster, it becomes a top-tier find. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC will often assign these coins high grades, like MS66 or MS67, and these grades can have a dramatic impact on value. What makes this even more exciting is that the 1990p Jefferson nickel is not a coin locked away in a museum or rare auction house. It's still out there. It could be sitting in an old coin roll, hidden in a forgotten drawer, or mixed in with your childhood piggy bank. People have discovered these valuable coins in the most unexpected places. Imagine picking up a nickel off your car floor mat or pulling one out of a change jar and realizing later that it's one of the rarest pieces from the 1990s. That's the magic of coin collecting. And that's why every coin has a story and a possibility. So, by now, you're probably asking the big question, just how much could one of these rare 1990p Jefferson nickels be worth? Well, the answer might just knock your socks off. A 1990p Jefferson nickel, in pristine uncirculated condition, with full steps and a rare minting error, has sold to collectors for as much as $57,000. Yes, a 5-cent coin, worth $57,000. So before you toss that nickel back in the coin jar, give it a closer look. Because you never know, the next great treasure could be hiding in your own home, waiting for you to discover it. Coin number 4. We're diving into the world of American pocket change to reveal the story behind a coin that might be lying unnoticed in your drawer, your car cup holder, or even in your wallet right now. This video is all about the Jefferson nickel, specifically, the 2000p Jefferson nickel. You might have seen hundreds of them over the years, maybe even spent them without a second thought. But what if I told you that one particular version of this coin could be worth a fortune? Yes, a 5-cent coin from the year 2000, minted in Philadelphia, could be worth way more than just 5 cents. And today, we're going to show you why. And now, let's talk about the coin itself. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. For decades, it's featured the image of Thomas Jefferson on the front or the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. This classic design by sculptor Felix Schlag remained mostly unchanged for over 60 years, becoming a quiet yet powerful icon of American history and design. By the year 2000, the Jefferson nickel had become so familiar that most people didn't even glance at it when receiving it in change. But collectors? They saw something different. Something hidden in plain sight. The year 2000 marked the last full year before the U.S. Mint began making major design changes to the Jefferson nickel. As a result, collectors now look at this year as the end of an era. But what really sets the 2000p Jefferson nickel apart isn't just timing, it's the rare errors and unique varieties that came out of the Philadelphia Mint that year. So what makes some of these nickels so valuable? It starts with something very important in the world of coins: mint errors. Every now and then, a coin comes off the production line with an imperfection, and when that imperfection is rare enough, it turns into something incredibly valuable. One of the most sought-after errors in the 2000p Jefferson nickel is a striking error. That's when the coin isn't struck correctly, and the design ends up off-center or distorted. Another prized error is known as a die clash, which occurs when the minting dies strike each other without a planchet, coin blank, between them, leaving behind a ghostly image of the opposite side's design. And let's not forget the famous full steps feature. On the reverse of the coin, if you look closely at Monticello, you'll see the steps leading up to the front entrance. On most coins, these steps are faint or blurred. But in rare cases, the strike is strong enough to show every single step clearly. This is called a full steps Jefferson nickel, and collectors go crazy for it, especially from years where strong strikes were uncommon, like in 2000. And here's where things get even more interesting. In the coin collecting world, value doesn't just come from how rare a coin is, it also comes from condition. A 2000p Jefferson nickel that's been passed around in daily transactions for 2 decades is still interesting, but it won't bring in huge money. On the other hand, a 2000p nickel in mint state, with zero wear and sharp detail, can fetch serious cash. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to determine a coin's quality. Coins graded MS66, MS67, or higher are considered top tier. Combine that level of condition with a rare error, and now you've got a coin that goes from everyday pocket change to a collector's dream. What makes the 2000p Jefferson nickel so exciting is that these rare varieties are still out there. That's right, many of them were never pulled from circulation. They're hiding in bank rolls, coin jars, collections inherited from relatives, or even in old cash drawers. And the best part? You don't need to be a professional numismatist to spot one. All it takes is a little curiosity, a good magnifying glass, and the patience to go through your nickels one by one. You never know what you might find. So if you've got a stash of old coins somewhere, now might be the perfect time to check. Look for the 2000 date, the P Mint mark on the front, and inspect Monticello on the back for those crisp, clean steps. Check the edges for anything unusual, a slight misalignment, doubling in the text, or strange marks. These small details could lead to a big payday. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much can a 2000p Jefferson nickel be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to have one in mint condition, with full steps and a verified minting error, it could be worth as much as $48,000. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 5-cent coin, hiding in circulation, possibly in your own home, could be worth $48,000. So the next time you get change back at the grocery store or dig through your old coin jar, take a second look. That ordinary nickel might just be something extraordinary. If you enjoyed this video and you want more deep dives into rare coins, unbelievable values, and amazing discoveries, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap that notification bell so you never miss an update. We've got plenty more treasure stories to share, and who knows? The next one could be about a coin you already own. Coin number 5. We're taking a closer look at a coin that most people pass by without even a second glance, the 1993p Jefferson nickel. That's right, a 5-cent coin from the early 90s. At first glance, it might look like any other nickel in your pocket. But don't be fooled, because hidden among those ordinary coins are a few that are anything but ordinary, and by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes the 1993p Jefferson nickel so special, and how one of these unassuming little coins could be worth an amount that might just blow your mind. Let's begin with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency since 1938, replacing the iconic Buffalo nickel. It features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, that's the obverse, and his grand estate, Monticello, on the back, the reverse. For decades, this design remained largely unchanged, giving the Jefferson nickel a classic, timeless appeal. And in 1993, the Philadelphia Mint continued this tradition, striking millions of these 5-cent coins for daily use. But, as any seasoned collector will tell you, it's not just about how many coins were made, it's about how many survived in extraordinary condition, or with rare mistakes. So let's dive into what separates a common 1993p Jefferson nickel from one that could be worth far more than its face value. The first thing collectors look for is mint condition, or what's officially called mint state. This means the coin has no signs of wear, damage, or handling. Coins in mint state have sharp edges, strong luster, and crisp design details. They look just as fresh as the day they left the mint, and when it comes to nickels from the early 1990s, that's not an easy thing to find. But condition is just the beginning. What makes certain 1993p Jefferson nickels truly rare and incredibly valuable are the errors. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin's production process. And while most of these mistakes are caught before coins leave the mint, a few escape, and those are the ones collectors go crazy for. Some of the most exciting and sought-after errors include off-center strikes, where the design is shifted noticeably to one side, double dies, which show a ghostly duplication of letters or features, and clipped planchets, where the coin is missing a curved section due to a misfeed in the cutting process. There are also die cracks, cuds, and brockage, each a fascinating minting anomaly that transforms an everyday coin into a conversation piece, and in some cases, a very valuable collector's item. And let's not forget the full steps designation. This is one of the biggest factors in determining the value of any Jefferson nickel. On the reverse side of the coin, beneath the Monticello dome, you'll find a set of steps. Most nickels from 1993 show those steps with some blurring or flattening. But a select few were struck with such precision and pressure that the steps appear clearly defined and unbroken. These are known as full steps nickels, and they command a premium in the coin market. And now here's the twist: the 1993p Jefferson nickel is not particularly famous. It's not part of a special series or anniversary edition. But that's exactly what makes it such a hidden gem. When everyone's focused on flashy commemoratives or silver coins, it's the overlooked dates like 1993 that surprise people the most. In fact, some of the most valuable coins in history weren't recognized as special until years later, after collectors began uncovering subtle variations, rare errors, and low population grades. The 1993p Jefferson nickel is starting to gain attention in just this way, and for those who know what to look for, the payoff can be stunning. So what should you do if you think you found a rare one? First, check for the P mint mark on the right side of Jefferson's portrait. Then, flip the coin and examine Monticello. Look for those steps. Count them. Are they clear? Are they complete? Next, look for doubling in the words "In God We Trust" or Monticello. Use a magnifier if you can. Even the smallest irregularity could be the key to identifying a rare variety. Finally, consider the condition. If the coin has a sharp strike, no scratches, and still shines under the light, you could be holding something far more valuable than a nickel. Of course, to know the true value, a professional appraisal or grading is essential. Services like PCGS or NGC can grade and certify your coin, giving it an official designation, and that's when the serious buyers come in. And now, after all this talk of rarity, condition, and error coins, the question still remains: how much could one of these seemingly ordinary nickels actually be worth? Well, you've waited patiently, and here it is. A rare 1993p Jefferson nickel, in perfect uncirculated condition, with full steps and a verified minting error, has been valued by collectors at as much as $50,000. That's right. A coin that started out worth just 5 cents, and probably passed through hundreds of hands, could now be worth $50,000. It's stories like this that keep collectors searching, keep coin rolls being opened, and keep treasure hunters combing through change one coin at a time. Because you never know what's out there until you look. If you found this video helpful, interesting, or just plain exciting, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell so you never miss an update. We've got more rare coin discoveries, collector tips, and coin history coming your way every week. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep your eyes sharp, your change close, and happy collecting.